We're talking with the Women's Council of Realtors president for Florida. I would love to introduce y'all to Denise out of Ocala, Florida. This is going to be an exciting time. Lots going on in the new year. Hey, I'm Nate Carver, and welcome to Between Two Doors. Hi, Denise. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Nate. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. So let's jump into it and introduce the world to you. Um, you're in the Ocala area of Florida. You've been a real estate agent since 1995. Uh, longer than that, shorter than that. You've been in Ocala since 1995.
Right.
This is live and we record and go. And so you correct me if I'm wrong, so it's quite all right. Okay, so you've been there since 1995.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. I'd like to know originally what brought you there, and then tell me about home.
Okay. Yes, we moved to Ocala in 1995. I actually still live in the same house we moved into. The reason we came up here because way back when, and for those of you who are probably my age, would know the term Circuit City, which is a previous store that was around. I was a manager for Circuit City and I got promoted to store manager. And the only opportunity at that time was the Gainesville store because that time Ocala didn't have a Circuit City. So I went to work at Gainesville and was up here for about, shoot, I want to say 8 weeks, 10 weeks before we sold our house down in the Ellington area. And then we moved up here. So that's what brought us to Ocala because my entire family actually lives in Dunedin, which is near Tampa area. So when we're up here, about 2 hours away. So we've been here for 30 years last month.
Nice. And it's pronounced Dunedin.
Dunedin, yes.
Yes.
People say Dunedin. It's Dunedin.
Dunedin. Yeah, that's the quick giveaway that you're not from there. So
Yeah.
I've been there, and that's exactly what I did and learned.
Yeah.
Wow. So your real estate career, 36 years combined. Um, and what what was the triggering thing? What brought you into real estate?
Okay. So I was in retail management for several years.
Mm-hmm.
And my last year, at that time, I was working for Cracker Barrel. I was the manager for Cracker Barrel. And that Christmas, I said, I don't want to work another Christmas. I'd worked them for 25 years. And I said, I just don't want to, or 26 years, just don't want to work another Christmas. And I had a cousin who was in real estate up in Connecticut. And the
Yeah.
previous district manager that I worked with was in real estate. And I told my husband, I said, I don't want to do retail anymore. I want to do something different. So I spoke with them and made the decision, took the class while I was still a manager at Circuit City, gave them my notice, and went into real estate full time. I mean, I took the leap, but I made sure that like all my ducks were in a row before I went. So God forbid I wasn't successful. I had something to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually worked out very well for me.
Nice. And as a side note, Cracker Barrel, I don't know how they do it, but their pancakes, they're crispy on, oh my gosh, they're the
And
best.
Mama's French toast is my favorite.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There's an old joke when you join Cracker Barrel as a manager. They call it the 625 because within 6 months you gain 25 pounds. And it definitely happened. Thank God I was able to get most of it off.
I believe it.
Eating all the
Boy.
time.
Yeah. Oh man, those pancakes. Okay, back to so you jump into real estate and your first year you were rookie of the year right
Yes.
out in the first 12 months.
Yes.
And wow, what do you attribute that kind of success for or to?
I attribute it to my sales background. I say, if I knew then what I knew now,
Mm-hmm.
how different I mean, I was successful in sales and my father was a salesman. And so I kind of took after him and I was in commission sales for quite a long time and real estate similar to that. And, I worked on a team the first year because I didn't know anything about real estate. I knew about sales.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the team helped me grow. and I just weren't worked out. I was working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day just to get my name out there. And come 10 years later, most of my business that I get, a lot of it is referral business from the folks that I helped back in the day. So it's hard work. You have to be able to put the hours in, work weekends, work nights. I kind of joked that the reason why I got into real estate was to get from working weekends and nights in,
Yeah.
in retail. Well, let me tell you, that's not the case for the first couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. You realtors and loan officers,
Yes,
we're the ones that work the evenings and weekends. They
absolutely.
aren't the banker's hours. So
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
wow, what would you tell 2016 Denise if you could go back and tell her something on the years you've learned from?
Oh, wow. You know, I was never to the point where I wanted to give up on anything because I knew I've always had that drive. I would have, my volunteer leadership, which brings me to the state president of the Women's Council of Florida.
Hmm.
I probably would have told myself back then, to really get involved, put yourself into the volunteer position. I got involved, it was a couple years later because I love my goal, and even when I was a manager in retail, was I love to see people grow. And part of being in leadership in a leadership role is to watch people grow. So I would have loved to start my leadership journey sooner with, Women's Council, Florida Realtors, and things of that nature. But then I think back and say, you know what, I needed to get my feet wet and get my real estate career going. So, probably what I told myself then is because you're more sedentary than you were at Cracker Barrel. You better have an exercise regimen.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about Ocala. For someone listening who's never been to Ocala, well, how would you describe it?
To me, and a lot of people over the years, it has changed dramatically. At one point, Ocala I mean, we still have a ton of horse farms. We're actually the horse capital of the world. People don't realize that. The county that I live in, Marion County, is the fifth largest or sixth largest county in the state of Florida. It's the size of Rhode Island, which I know isn't a big state, but that's a big county.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And we currently have about 450,000 people in our county. So it's very well spread out because there's still a lot of land out there. For someone who hasn't been here, if you like the hustle and bustle of the big city like Tampa, Miami, Orlando, Ocala is not the place for you. But if you want the laid back kind of, you know, where it's a lot of good old boy network, hometown feeling, you got a lot of hometown restaurants, Ocala is
Hmm.
the place to live. It is getting a lot busier than it used to be. If you're a retiree, we have great retirement communities, great hospitals, great doctors. And traffic compared to other places, let me tell you, the traffic here is nothing. But people who have lived here for a long time, they think the traffic's out of control.
Hmm.
And the cost of living in the state of Florida, it's still one of the least expensive, and it is the safest place to be during a hurricane because we are in the middle of the state. And in 30 years, I don't know of anyone, whether they lived in a manufactured home, a site-built home, that's had, the roof blown off or things that have happened on the coasts during hurricanes. So it's a very safe place to be during the hurricanes, which means insurance is cheaper.
How far from the beach are you?
So from Daytona, we're about 90 miles west, and from like Crystal River in that area, we're about maybe I'm sorry, 90 miles west, and then from Crystal River, that area, about 70 miles. So we're like smack dab middle in the middle of the state. But I can get to Daytona Beach within an hour and 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, hang on a second. We're having a little technical difficulty over here.
Should I?
All right, we're back. We had a little technical difficulty there. All right, so somebody looking to move into Ocala, what would you tell them? I mean, I guess their expectations as a home buyer. Um, yeah, what would they be? What might be new to them?
Well, I think one of the things that you're going to see in Ocala that you don't see through the rest of the state, we actually have some hills. It's not completely flat like the rest of Florida is. And people that come here say, wow, this reminds me of like up north, like Pennsylvania or some of those places.
Yeah.
If you're into horses, like I said, where the world, the horse capital of the world. We have a beautiful World Equestrian Center that's the largest in the world. People fly from all over the world to come and show their horses, and there's all kinds of events there and things of that nature. It's still a down home feel, even though we're getting larger as a city. Still reasonably priced to live here. It's not outrageous. Like I mentioned earlier, the insurance is a lot less expensive because we live in the middle of the state. And it's a great place to live. We've got a lot of, things that happen in our downtown Ocala area. It's just, it's, it's just a wonderful place to live. I mean, I'm
Hmm,
thrilled that I moved here 30 years ago and really don't plan on going anywhere else anytime soon.
good. I don't know if it got cut off or not, so I definitely want to know. For me personally, the beach, how far is Ocala from the beach? Closest drive? Is that?
So from Daytona, it's about 80 miles, takes about hour, 15 hour, 20 minutes. So it's not that far. You drive through the
Yeah.
forest, and that's to go to the East Coast. To go to the West Coast is going to be about, I'd say 90 minutes maybe, if you want to go over Crystal River or something of that nature. If you wanted to go down to like Clearwater Beach, you're probably looking like 2.5 hours. So it's still within a day's drive easily. We go to Daytona
Yeah.
quite often.
Make a day trip out of it.
Yep, absolutely.
And they a lot of places. I'm just as many times I've been in that area, just seeing all there's a lot of really great restaurants around there.
Yes, a lot of local
Um,
restaurants, which is nice. You're not
yeah,
the
you
chains.
got a favorite local? I love when I travel, I try not to eat at chain restaurants.
Yeah,
They're all great, but
yeah.
I really try to get the local flavor. What's your favorite in Ocala?
I would say probably one of my favorites is Latino y Mas, which is a
Mhm.
Spanish fusion restaurant. They've been around for a long time. In fact, they catered my one of my birthday parties. I'm not going to tell you what year it was.
29th.
It was a big
Annual.
birthday.
I only celebrate my annual 29th birthday
That's
party.
right. That's right. It was my annual. So they catered my birthday. And another really unique restaurant when I have visitors come, especially when folks are buying a house, because my office is located downtown, so they can come to my office and we meet, is called Ivy House. And it's kind of like it's supposed to come back to like the 1920s, 30s, 40s, like a speakeasy theme, but really great food. In fact, when we had our state summit here back in October, that was a restaurant that we visited a few times, and people were just in awe because it was just great food and it's very inexpensive compared to, again, the big cities.
Wow. I love it. So you mentioned it in our opening, and let's talk about leadership and women in real estate. You're
Okay.
the president of the Women's Council Realtors for Florida. That is
Yep.
the largest and oldest organization supporting female realtors in Florida. And you're the president.
Yeah.
Tell me about that journey.
So I got my license in 2016, and in 2017, I was suggested by several people to join the council, the Women's Council, because it was a great place to network, great place to, meet other leaders that had the same journey as you did. Also to with our vendors, our partners, whether they were lenders, whether they were title, whether they were inspection. If you didn't know when you're starting in the business, those are the folks that help support us, so we would support them. And in 2018, the current president, who I knew from my previous life, she was she was going to be president in 2018. So at the end of 2017, she asked if I wanted to be her president-elect. And I was like, okay. Not knowing much about it. And I was local president in 2019. And then, of course, everybody knows what happened in 20 and 21 with COVID. And then so I was still involved, but I didn't go into any kind of leadership roles. And then in 2022, I became a district vice president. Then I was treasurer. Then I was first vice president. Then I was president-elect. And technically, I've taken over my presidency November the 18th of this year for 2026, because we go from November to November at out with the Women's Council, because that's how National does their calendar. So right now, I am currently president, and we have 1,350, 60 members. Our goal, though, is we want to increase our membership, like our national president is wanting by 26%. So we're hoping to have about 1,700 members. by the end of next year. And I have a great leadership team, which consists of four other leaders in on the executive line, and then nine district vice presidents and 27 local network presidents. So we have a lot of great things planned for next year.
Nice. What would you tell uh, realtors um, about the Women's Council realtors that why they need to be a part of it? Is it something they should do like their first year as a realtor?
If you want the camaraderie, the networking, you want to learn from people that have been in the industry, it's a great place to go. The networking is phenomenal. Once you get into the council and you start to travel and go to the national events, whether you're going to DC every year or wherever the national conference is, you're meeting leaders throughout the country. And it's a great way to get referrals. It's a great way to call somebody up and say, hey, I have a question. Can you help me? It doesn't matter if they're in the same brokerage, even if they're in the same state, it might be a real estate related question that you're just not sure what to do or how to go about it. So it's just a great way to continue if you're on a leadership journey. We have some great leadership training.
Hmm.
Somebody who's new in the industry doesn't know anybody. And the only way you're successful in this industry is really getting to know people who can support you and you supporting them. Because if you go on and you're just a man on an island by himself or a woman on an island by himself, you're not going to be very successful in the real estate industry. So you depend on these other leaders and partners to help you with your success.
Right. What does the Women's Council realtors mean to a homeowner that needs to sell their home or somebody that's looking to buy a home? What from their perspective, what would that be?
Well, when you're a leader in a volunteer organization, to me, it shows them that it's just not about the real estate transaction. It's bigger than that. You care about volunteering. You don't get paid to be a leader in the Women's Council or any of these volunteer organizations. You're doing it because you have the passion and you're doing it because you want to help grow, whether it's through education, which again, we offer a lot of education, which helps when you're working with a homeowner, a buyer or seller, that
Hmm.
you might have education that somebody else who's not involved doesn't have. You have more knowledge about other things that maybe you learned in your classes that you the webinars or in-person classes that you were with the Women's Council. And I think it helps you as a individual, not only to feel more confident when you're working with a buyer or seller, because we know how tough the market is. A seller might talk to five or six agents. So what's going to separate you apart from those agents? And you have to have the confidence when you're talking to that buyer or seller and be able to display that you have the knowledge and you have a team of people behind you. And honestly, even if they're not in the same network, you have a team of people throughout the state to support you. And that's one of the things that I love about the council.
Nice. I can imagine that network. Let's say you have a listing.
Hmm.
From a home buyer's perspective, if your realtor has a network, I'm just thinking if I'm trying to sell an investment property or buy an investment property,
Hmm.
and your realtor has a connection to a whole bunch of other realtors who know investors,
Yep.
um, that would be a great tool to be able to move that property or acquire a property too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, we have 1,350 members. Not
yeah.
all of them are active constantly. Some of them just members because they want to, they like our education but you have those people that you can go to. Again, referrals. I have someone just now that, I listed they had a piece of land here in Ocala, actually Dunellen, and it was an agent from down in Sarasota that said, I've got this person who has land up there, would you mind? And sure, I was able to, same with me. I just referred somebody who wants,
Hmm.
it was a buyer that was working with me originally, and they changed their area where they wanted to live, and where they want to move to is 3 hours away. I don't know that area. So I reached out to my women's council members. I said, who can help this customer of mine, and I referred them to somebody else that I know will take care of them.
Yeah.
That's where I think the key is. You can depend on these people to make sure that they are taking care of your clients as well as you are taking care of theirs.
Right. I totally get that. As a lender, there's a few unique products, and I'm like, I actually know someone in the industry that might be an expert or is an expert, and I'll,
Yep.
yeah, totally
Yeah.
get it. And vice versa, it happens to me
Yeah.
too. So the people
Absolutely.
move all over the place, and so you never know. There's that opportunity, and I
Yeah.
love being able to have somebody in my on my
Your
short list
pocket.
to be able to send, yeah, my pocket to be able to introduce, make a
Yep.
nice introduction and an endorsement and say they're going to take care of you and know they're going to get taken care of. That's awesome. So Women's Council Realtors does have an event coming up. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, it's a big event. It's actually our installation in January, on January the 6th at the Hyatt Regency in Orlando. And this is when myself and my executive team get installed, as well as our district vice presidents. It's our annual installation. Even though we take office technically middle of November, we actually get installed in January. Every network does an installation on their schedule. Ours is always at our January midwinter conference, and it's going to be a 70s theme because, I'm a 70s child. And it's just going to be a big event. We'll probably have 220, 230 people there. It's going to be, the installation and then dancing. We're going to do awards. Of course, we'll recognize all of our strategic partners, which I thank you very much, Nate, for being one of our partners for 2026. So
Absolutely.
you will be recognized there. And we our goal is to just have fun and let people who don't know what the council's about, when they come and they see again the camaraderie and the love in that room. That's the reason why a lot of people join, because they feel like it's a sisterhood. Even though we have men in
Mhm.
the council, majority of our members are women, about 10% are men, but there's that sisterhood. And it's going to be a great event, and that's on Tuesday on the 6th from 6:30 to 11, and then on Wednesdays are education all day. So whoever's there, we don't charge for our education sessions. We have our national president coming in from California, which is a really big deal. And then our national treasurer is actually from Florida. She was our state president in 2023, and now she's our national treasurer. So we're just thrilled to have her there. And then, of course, we have education all day, different sessions throughout the day. And it's just a great way. Again, we offer this education free. We're going to have a session on scripts with one of our members who's been in the industry. You may know her, Alexis Bolin. She's been in the
Mhm.
industry for, I don't know, 50 years. And she's basically going to help our members and our guests. How do you overcome objections from a buyer or seller? And she's got
Yeah.
a slew of people from her Star Power group that will be there. So it's going to be a can't miss. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you are an expert in the real estate industry, and the industry, for lack of a better word, has rewarded you. Um, so I think that's exciting. I can't wait to be there too. I'll be face to face, and so
Yes,
that's pretty
absolutely.
awesome.
We're
All
going to
right, I'm
ask
gonna
you,
put.
just on a side note, we're going to ask you to be an escort to escort some of our past presidents in.
Oh my goodness, I've got a tuxedo, and I will pack that, and
You don't
I'm
need to
gonna
wear a
dress for the
tux. I mean, you
night.
can wear something 70s, but yeah, I was going to ask you that. So since we're here live, I'm asking you.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna wear a tuxedo and I will look to see if I can find like a 70s style tie or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll fit the part. I'm gonna dress to
Okay.
the nines. I'm
I
not
know
gonna
you
pass
will.
that up. That's
I know you
awesome.
will.
That's great. Um, nice. All right. So I'm gonna put links to that to the event so that anybody finds this and is watching or listening, and you're a real estate agent and you'd like to go. I'll have or get introduced to the Women's Council of Realtors for Florida. Links down below.
Yep.
And then let's shift gears to real estate
Okay.
for people that are looking for a real estate agent in the Ocala area. Um, Tell me, is a moment where is there a moment in a transaction where you think this is why I do what I do?
Absolutely. When probably the biggest joy and reward that I get is when that first time homeowner is able to buy their house. They've been renting and now they're able to say, this is mine. I just had a transaction,
Hmm.
I don't know, probably 6 months ago, and they were first time home buyers. And when we sat in the closing with the title agent, the joy on their face, and the wife kept saying, I can't believe we're buying a house. I can't believe we're going to have our own house. And they have children, they have 3 or 4 children. And they were just, when we went and did like a walkthrough, they came into the house and kids were like, oh my God, we have a backyard. Oh my God, that's my room. And so that to me is it's so rewarding. And then on the other hand, when you have someone who unfortunately maybe a spouse passed away and they're going to be moving in with their children, and you're there
Hmm.
to support them and to help them through the transaction, because again, it's about people, it's not about money. And if you're in the business for money, you're not going to be successful. The only
Yeah.
way you're going to get referrals and it's because you have to give yourself to these people. They need to know that you are there for them. Whether you make, whatever the amount of money you're making, it's not about that. And these folks I was telling you about, I mean, they were so tight on money that we had to figure out a way to get them into this house. And whether it's, you have to take some of your money to give to them, whatever, to make them, make it possible for them to purchase this home. And another instance I had a seller, and the buyer was a woman who was living in a women's shelter for 2 years because she had been abused in the past. And
Mm.
the other agent, and this was not a very expensive house at the time, it was maybe $120,000. That's when you could buy a house for that much in Ocala. You can't do that anymore. And the woman that was helping her said, I've sold $1 million homes, and to see this woman get into this house who had been living in a shelter for 2 years and now has a place to call her own was probably the most heartwarming thing that I've ever seen. And I agree. It's
Yeah.
when you have, when you, and also when that buyer or seller says to you, thank you, we couldn't have done this without you. That to me is probably the most rewarding.
Yeah. So I get as a lender, whenever I make that first conversation with a potential buyer or home buyer, they're in the market, and they look they I know they think of me as the bank, and that's got some negative,
Yeah,
connotations there. Or, at best, they right off they just think on the numbers and documents, guys. Oh my gosh, how many documents do I got to send this dude? And but I don't start there. I start with tell me your why. I want to hear their dream. I want to hear their goal. And that's where I build. That's where I start their contract or
yeah,
their loan application is with their why. And because then now I've got a mission. you know, and
absolutely.
yeah, and in the if you're staying in the referral space where your past clients, customers are
Yep,
bringing people they know to you because they like you and they trust you. That's a wonderful place to be, and
absolutely.
that is as on our side of that equation, that kind of endorsement is gold. It's amazing. Good for you. I love it. Next 12 months, let's say someone's got a home that they're thinking about selling. What do you recommend their timeline? Like how should they approach that? I don't know, because I know it's just like we don't snap our fingers and sell a house.
I wish, and I don't have a crystal ball either. Uh, the market has definitely changed.
Yeah.
The folks that bought when the rates were 2.5%, 3% are not selling because they can't get rates at that amount. The people that sold at that time were very fortunate. However, the market has shifted and it's now becoming, it was definitely a seller's market for several years. It's now a little bit of even and maybe going towards the buyers, mainly because there's so much new construction, especially in my area. So you have pre-owned sales competing against new home sales. I would say the biggest thing, number one, be patient. Know that your timeline isn't going to be 2 weeks. It's probably going to be more like, I think the average right now in Ocala is close to 60 days, if not longer. And, the bottom line is price is going to determine if your house is going to sell or not. You could have all these upgrades that you paid $100,000 for, but is somebody else going to see that value in your house? Just like they say when you get a swimming pool. If you buy a pool for resale value, you're not buying it for the right reason. You're buying it for you to enjoy it. And if you get the money back at the end of the year, great. But if you don't, you enjoyed it all those years. So,
Hmm.
I have some folks right now that were thinking of selling and, we're, pretty much into the holiday season at this point. So my suggestion is if you're looking to sell right now, I'd wait until after the first of the year personally, just because I think right now unless you have to get out of the house and you're willing to take a little bit of a loss on your house at this time. It's going to be a tough market this time of year. However, the Feds just cut rates today, and you probably know
Hmm.
more about that than I do. And the what we're hearing is that from our Lauren Jun, who is our economist for NAR, that there's a good chance that rates might get into the sixes next year and stay there. And he doesn't anticipate them staying between 5.5% and 6%. He says he doesn't think we'll ever see the 3% again. I kind of agree with him. I think that was
Yeah.
kind of a anomaly. So I think people, once they get used to that, and when you think about it, that's not that expensive to buy a house. When we bought this house in 95, I think our rate was 7.25. Granted, the
Hmm.
house was a lot less expensive, but then so was your income. So everything is relevant to the timing. So, but I would say if you want to sell, you know, you need to, my suggestion always is interview more than one agent. Talk to that agent. And I tell people that all the time, and I always say I would like to interview for the job because it is a job. And you have to see, do you gel with that person? Because you may not gel at all. And if you
Hmm.
don't, then that's not the person you want representing you. If you gel and you feel like, hey, this person has my best needs at heart, then that's the person you want to hire.
Nice. All right. We're about out of time. Can I run a lightning round of questions for you?
Sure.
All right. So we already did your favorite restaurant. Let me ask you this: coffee or sweet tea? I know we're in the South, so
So coffee, but it has to be flavored coffee with flavored creamer and a flavored syrup.
do you have a favorite flavor, or are we
Vanilla. Vanilla is usually.
vanilla? Okay.
But my favorite coffee is right now, especially this time of year, cinnamon sugar cookie.
Yeah, yeah. This time of year, I have my guilty pleasure that I look forward to this time every year, and
Yeah.
it's that peppermint mocha in
Okay.
over at Starbucks or anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. Nice. If Ocala had a postcard scene, what would be in that picture?
A horse.
A horse? Yeah, I knew that was coming.
A horse, probably the Silver Springs, which we're famous for, way with the glass bottom boats
Yeah.
in there. Because that's every time you see something, that's usually what's in there. And then probably the downtown square, because it's been there
Is
a long time. Those are the three
is
main.
Silver Springs where the monkeys are?
Yep, and they're still there,
They're
and
still there.
there's quite a few of them, and if you go kayaking, you will probably see them. You should not feed them because they are aggressive, and you'll
Do
see
you want to
alligators.
do you want to tell the story how those monkeys got there? Because monkeys aren't native to North America.
No, from my understanding is that they were brought on for a movie. This is what I understand. And
Yeah,
put on the little island, and I guess they didn't realize that they could swim and multiply. And all these years later, I think it was a Tarzan movie that they were part of.
Tarzan. Yeah,
And all these years later, they're taking over.
yeah. Gosh, those flat
You can
bottom.
still go on the glass bottom boats and you can see the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was filmed there, and they've got the monuments under. It's something I recommend everybody that comes to Ocala because
Oh,
you
it's
get to go
gorgeous.
and it's beautiful over
That
there.
water is just, it is crystal clear
Yeah.
to however deep it is.
Yeah. It's one
And
of the beautiful springs. We have several springs, and so there would be a picture of the Silver Springs, any kind of the springs, because we have several in Ocala that are water 77 degrees year or 72 degrees year round, and it's crystal clear.
mhm. All right, yeah, yeah. I did that as a kid, and
Yeah.
our family went there. We went to Disney World.
Hmm.
We had a good time van, and we packed it full of family, and gosh, we had a good time. Um,
Hence the
yeah,
name.
yeah. Hey, for you, beach day or horse day?
You can tell by the color of my skin, I am as fair. I used to call it retail pale. I am not a beach fan at all. So I
Uh,
would actually, I would probably say mountains.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I would, a beach is not, we go to Daytona just, you know, but I am not a beach person.
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody I know that has lives in Florida, grew up in Florida. You ask them where they're going on vacation, it's the mountains.
Absolutely.
It is. They either go, spend a little
Tennessee,
bit
North
more.
Carolina, Georgia.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. That's
yeah. And that's a short drive.
yeah.
They'll drop bigger bucks and go to Colorado or
Yeah.
Alaska.
Haven't been out.
But
I've been to Alaska, but I haven't been out to Colorado or Utah. Either. They're on my bucket
yeah,
list.
yeah. You got a hill. It's
We have a we have, it's funny is we have a subdivision or an area called the Rolling Hills. And last week I went to one of my local installations and it was over in the Claremont area. And there's a place near there called Howie in the Hills. And
uh-huh.
one of our my president-elect Catherine, who's from Tampa, said, I didn't realize there were that many hills over here. I said, well, there's a place called Howie in the Hills. And the hills to us is nothing compared to if you come from the north. But
Yeah.
Florida's flat, so to us, those are pretty big hills.
Yeah. I actually think I've been to the largest or the highest elevation in Florida. Um, can't swear to it. I think I have.
I'm
Anyway,
thinking it's like the Claremont area or somewhere over there, if I'm correct. We're pretty high.
yeah. The name escapes me. That's how memorable that was to
Yeah,
me. But I like mountains too, so.
yeah.
All right. Well, if what's something cool or neat that most people might not know about you that might surprise them?
Ooh. Well, most people know that I love to go to the casino and gamble on the slots.
You always bet on black?
No,
Or you're on the slots.
I
That's
play the
not betting on
slots. I
black.
play the
Yeah, you
slots.
play the slots.
Yeah, I love playing the slots. I love to read. I love to garden. That's kind of my outdoor. If I'm outside, it's the gardening more than
Yeah.
anything else. In the process of, I've actually my cactuses, my Christmas, Thanksgiving, I'm not even sure which are which. I try to figure it out, are blooming,
Uh-huh.
which is kind of exciting. And that old joke, where you always see cartoons about, well, we don't need any more plants, and then there's the woman with, oh, that's me. I keep,
Oh, yeah. I drop a lot of money every year on gardens.
yeah. Well, I mean, I just love plants, indoor and outdoor, and
Yeah.
I'm getting
Any
more and
any
more of a green thumb.
anything particular you like to grow, like your favorite thing that for me, it's tomatoes. Um, there's a million varieties of them, and I do it every year, and I find something new that I haven't ever
Yeah.
had grown. Uh, I was curious if there's that one plant you're like, this is it. This is the thing I look forward to growing.
Well, yeah, as far as vegetables, we did tomatoes in that for 2 or 3 years in a row, and like by the third year, like everything had we could never make it because they were eaten by worms, and so we stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I have a donkey ear plant, and I propagate it, so I have like a million donkey ear plants, and it's like a big leaf, and it gets little babies on it, and I've given them away to people.
Oh yeah.
Probably what I love the most is the Christmas cactus and Thanksgiving and Easter, especially when they bloom. Because right now I have one that's blooming like a light orange, one's a white, and the other one you can see the buds are coming up and they're going to be like a red. I love that because this time of year is when they bloom. They love the cold, they love the dark,
Yeah.
and I look forward to that. Uh,
Wow.
yeah.
Been trying to do pineapples, and I've failed. I'm just a little too far north, and so if there's a freeze or it gets a little too cold, uh, I'm will not move them in, and they were dead. And
And they take a long time.
they do. They take 3 years. I have gotten to two in .8 years
Oh
and
no,
kill it. And so I'm like, I'm gonna have to move deep south just to do this because I'm not, or get a
greenhouse.
greenhouse. Yeah, which I haven't done. And every year I should get a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. All right, last question. If you weren't doing real estate, helping people find homes and sell homes, what do you think you'd be doing?
I would love to be work with injured turtles, be it
Uh,
like because I mean I had turtles, little turtles. Unfortunately, I don't know if Hawks got them, whatever. We're trying to redo that to get a better pond, to get the yellow bellied sliders.
yeah.
I watch those shows where the turtles are in the ocean and something happens, whether an animal got them or they got stuck in the plastic or whatever, and then they rehab them. I would love to do that because
Oh,
again,
yeah.
it's so rewarding. Anything to do with animals, that have to go to those kind of places to, live or to get, you know, help because they're injured or what have you. I would love to do that. That would probably be what I would do if I was in real estate.
Gotcha. You got the uh the gopher tortoise in your area?
Yeah, not in my yard, but in the neighborhoods that they are, in order to get those moved, you have to have the I believe the Florida Wildlife has to come in and remove those. And if you get caught removing them, you could be fined tremendously. And it costs a lot of money to remove those. So a lot of these
Yeah.
investors that buy land and then they find there's a gopher, they have a lot to go through to get rid of those because they are
Yeah.
protected species.
Yeah,
I've seen them though.
yeah, they're a keynote or keystone species. Um, so I have some land, family land up by Crestview,
Okay, yep, yep, yep.
and like it's 100 acres. It's out. It's the Yellow River. The way it's shaped, it's pretty
Yeah.
well isolated. And as a kid, so these tortoises are, for people who don't know, these are on an endangered or threatened list,
Mhm.
and there's at least 90 different other species that live in the tunnels that they dig. And if without those tunnels, those species would be severely wiped, they'd be wiped out.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so never stick your hand in a hole in the ground, one. So, because one of those things that lives in there is rattlesnakes. I'll go down a rabbit hole on this. Anyway, or the tortoise hole. The As a kid, I used to rescue them. Like we would drive down interstate and you'd see them
Yep, yep.
crossing the Interstate 10, and I'd pick them up, and they'd be little. Sometimes they'd be big. I'd grab them and take them out to the farm and set them on that land, and they're out there to this day. They live a very long time,
Absolutely. People don't
and
realize that about turtles. I've picked them up like when I'm out in Denellen, again with a little bit of hills, and they're in the middle of the road. I've picked them up and put them aside. The only turtle I will not come near to touch is a snapping turtle, and we had one in our yard, and it was a good
yeah,
size. And I mean, you could be on the back and it'll reach. So we let it go. I don't know where it ended up, but I was not going near that because I didn't want to break
yeah,
my hand.
yeah. So I don't know if I just told them myself with Florida, but whatever. It is what it is. I've saved turtles or tortoises. Um, Fantastic. Tell me, how can someone, if they're looking to buy or sell a home in the Ocala area, how could they best get a hold of you?
Well, they can go onto my website, which is deniseb.remax.com, or they can look. I also have Denise Bibeau, which is my spelling of my name, Bibeau.com, or the way you pronounce my name, Beebo.com. So it could be Denise Beebo.com or my correct spelling. And the reason why my email is Denise Beebo at gmail.com is because I have a lot of vowels on my name and a lot of people cannot pronounce my name. It's almost become a
Yeah.
running joke because people slander it, or not slander it. They destroy
Butcher
it
it.
because they can't say it. So and I understand that. It's a French name. It's my husband's name. It's
Ah,
not easy to say. When you get too many vowels, it gets confusing for people.
yeah, which is a lot of street signs in Florida. I don't know why they did that to us, but they did. All right. The links, I'll link that up down below. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, they'll be able to find you. And
And you can also go onto WCR.org and put state of Florida, and there'll be my message or my picture will be there as well, since I'm
yeah,
yeah.
perfect. I'll get that in there too. All right. Thank you, Denise.
You.
Anything I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I mean I'm looking forward to seeing you on the 6th and getting to meet you. And I love the podcast, and I think it's going to be a great addition to our state because I don't know many people that do podcasts, and this is
Hmm.
first for me. So I think it's a great opportunity for other realtors to get with you and to do this. And I love that you're doing this.
I appreciate that. All right, that's going to wrap up this episode of Between Two Doors. I'm your favorite host, Nate Carver, and Denise. Thank you for being with me today, even with the electrical technical issue on my end. I appreciate that, and we will see y'all again soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.